Yo, what's good? What's good? What's poppin'? It's Saturday, and it's time to get this thing cracking. Wait for some folks to get in here. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope everybody picked up something new. If you're watching this after the fact, appreciate you. Thank you for the support. It's cold in here. I got the heat on. So if you see me rubbing my hands, that's what it is. A little chilly. What's happening, Defense Dad? How you doing, my man? Welcome back. You at work? You're always at work, man. You need to take some time off for yourself. But I know you got to pay the bills. You pick up anything new this week? What's up, Hot Tub Tony? My square, my brother. What's good with you? Now, you only got an hour left? Oh, you almost done there. That ain't even nothing. You good. What you been up to, Hot Tub? You working today too? I just got off work. Now I'm here with y'all. AK Lover, what's poppin', my man? What's going on, my guy? Yeah, I feel you, Defense Dad. What you been up to, AK Lover? You got a couple of nice guests on tonight. Are you off? That's what's up. We're going to give y'all a little history lesson today. Y'all going to get some education today. Wait for a few more people to jump in here. What's up, Jason Ewing? How you doing, brother? How you been doing, man? What was you into today? Wonder if I'm becoming a CZ guy? Look here, man. If I do become a CZ guy, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. But I'll never, ever be on your level as a gun snob. Who else coming in here right now? This man, lay away. Wrong channel, brother. Wrong channel. But throw the mails up anyway. I'm going to go ahead and bring my guest in here. How you doing, Miss Shauna? I didn't even see you slide in here. You snuck in on me. I didn't even see you sneak in on me. I'm going to go ahead and bring them in so we can go ahead and get this thing started. They can't hang out too long with us. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing popping. CZ, I can't picture BigDre in a man bun and skinny jeans. Nah, bro. Yeah, never the skinny jeans. Never the skinny jeans. Never the skinny jeans. You put an M&P rifle on layaway? Okay. Man, you should have called me. You know, I'd gladly sell you one. That's what I do. Y'all ready? I'm ready.
You can see it.
Right. What's going on, gentlemen?
What's going on, Dre?
Man, I can't call it, man. How y'all doing?
I'm good. How you feeling?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. All right, so we got big Aqil Qadir, and we got little Aqil Qadir.
That's
Name
it.
is spelled a little different, but the same name.
Make sure
I'm gonna refer to my man over here as Aqil and his father as Aqil. So why don't you brothers go ahead and introduce yourselves, tell us more about
Start with you.
Yeah, I'm Aqil Abdul Qadir, former president of Dorrie Rifle and Pistol Club in Buffalo, New York.
And I'm his son, Aqil Qadir, current president of the Dorie Miller Rifle and Pistol Club. Actually, the Dorie Miller Gun Club in Tennessee and the Dorie Miller Rifle and Pistol Club is still active up in Buffalo.
Okay. So, with your shooting background, I know a lot about your background, but Aqiel, what did you get into shooting at? How did you get into guns?
Well, what happened was I was a security officer and I had to be trained into shooting. And as a result, I developed an interest, and I thought that there was something that I needed to share with a lot more people in my community.
Okay. And has it had a big impact on the community? Do you feel that it was impactful?
I think so. I think so. We really worked hard to try and have an input, have impact on the community, especially in light of what was happening, with all of the crime and stuff going on and people getting hurt and shot and not knowing what to do or how to defend them, protect themselves. And we came in and really addressed those issues and work with people to try and get them to get a better understanding of what was happening as far as firearms was concerned.
Gotcha.
Tell them the story about you said it had to do with Joseph Christopher, 22 caliber killer, right?
Oh, at that time, yeah, it was a guy running around. I don't know if you got the news on it down here, but it was a guy called the 22 caliber killer, and he was just going around just killing black folks, shooting them, and they didn't know who or what he was. So a lot of people became, really concerned about their safety and their welfare, and they approached me because they knew I know a little something about firearms, and they said, well, maybe you can help me to get a better understanding of this thing because I don't want to be out here and not have any kind of protection for myself or my family.
I mean, that makes sense. I
Yeah,
mean,
big sense.
everybody
Yeah.
wants to be safe. Now, during that time period, around what year was that? Was all that going on?
Off the top of my head, I'm saying that was roughly about 78, 79.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we was all
And what
young
I
bucks
do,
then. We were
What'd you say?
young bucks then.
One more time.
I said we were young bucks then.
oh,
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah, most definitely. But what it was, it took a minute for the club to catch on, okay, because people were kind of, they were kind of, how can I say,
Reticent,
reticent,
scared,
scared, didn't
apprehensive.
and apprehensive, and we tried to work with people to let them know that there wasn't any need for that, and that if you have a firearm in the house, there's certain precautions you have to take just to make sure that your family is safe and not in danger. And that was upon you. You had a tremendous responsibility in seeing that firearm was put up and it was in a safe place and only certain people had access to it.
Right. Now, do you feel that people in our community as black people were more receptive to it, definitely more than the white communities were?
As time went on, our community became more receptive. Okay, as things start unfolding, like for instance, during the 22 caliber killer, after things kind of died down and he was apprehended and arrested and all of that, then folks kind of fell back into that same mode of thinking. Okay, well, I'm all right, I'll be okay, and I was trying to tell them that that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? That you have a responsibility, you and your family, to make sure that you have something to protect yourself and to protect your family. And that you can't rely upon police all the time for your protection because
Right.
when you dial 911, it's going to take them a minute to be there. And by that time, some could seriously have even happened to you or your family members. So you have the responsibility yourself to take care of yourself and to protect yourself.
Gotcha. Now, did y'all have any help from local law enforcement going, through the process of getting the club going?
No, we didn't. We were how can I say? We had some police officers in our club,
Okay.
okay, which made the world a difference, okay, because they could see the value of what we were talking about and what we were teaching, and as a result, other police members knew of their membership in the club, and therefore we didn't have anything as far as any static. Matter of fact, they were very receptive to us, and we um, we had the Erie County District Attorney come and speak, and he was one of our speakers because we would have meetings twice a month. One
Okay.
would be the club meeting, to take care of club business, and the other would be going to the range doing some shooting. I got a schedule here just to give you an idea. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I'm gonna give it to Aqil, and maybe he can hold it up and show you that this is what we used to. Can you see that?
Yes, sir. I can see it.
Yeah, and that that
Okay.
that just kind of displays what we were having in terms of our meetings, the date, the time, because we will be meeting at the public library now. Okay.
Okay.
And at first, we had some static from the people in the library who were anti-gun, but then we also had somebody who was working with the Erie County, uh, no, the Erie County Public Executive. Okay,
Okay.
and he talked to the people at the library and explained to them that we wasn't any threat to anybody, and that we were going to be people who were going to be how can I say, safety conscious, and they didn't have to worry about us coming in there with guns or anything, except the police officers, and that's their duty and responsibility to make sure that they in a position to protect themselves as well as others at all times. So it was an experience to say the least in terms of explaining to people and getting them to understand who we were and what we were about. And as soon as people found that out, they became more receptive to us. And after Trump, uh, when the election, then we really had a had a how can I say an explosion as far as membership was concerned, because people became more concerned because they could see what Trump was about, and
Gotcha.
understanding, that they didn't want to kiss themselves, out there without anything. They thought it was best that they learned a little something about shooting and firearms.
Now, y'all from New York. So was Trump
Buffalo, New York.
he said
There's,
make that
there's,
clear.
Distinction,
Buffalo,
yeah.
New York.
there's a
It's
big.
important. It's important distinction there, right?
So was Trump the same way that y'all, as far back as y'all can remember, that he is now?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Back when I was young, Trump used to he was down with the Clintons, and he used to give out money to the Democratic Party and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Back then Trump was I thought he was a capitalist. There's nothing wrong with that, but he was about making his money and doing the whole property thing. But the politics didn't come in until later. And that's my remembering.
Right.
Gotcha.
And we viewed him as being a shyster, and understanding that he was a shyster, we knew what we had to do as a people. That we know we couldn't depend upon him as far as our issues and our concern is that we had to, most of the time go around him to try and get what it was that we wanted or what we felt as though we needed as a community.
Gotcha. Now I watched some old interviews with Trump when he was on Oprah back in the day, and he said that he was a Democrat.
He
So
was.
yeah, he said he was a Democrat, and she asked him. She said, "Would you ever run for president?" He said, "Nah, it's not on my radar. But if I ever did, I'd run as a
Run as a
Republican because
Republican.
they'd get
That's
me
exactly what he
elected."
said. I run as a Republican. You know who else is a Democrat? I just found out the other day.
Who?
Wayne LaPierre.
Oh, I
Really
didn't know that. I didn't know that. Yeah.
interesting. Now,
I thought you think so.
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, Wayne
So,
LaPierre is a Democrat.
well, speaking of Wayne, now at some point wasn't Dorie Miller working with the NRA a little bit?
Oh yeah, we did, and we just picked up with Rob Williams. I don't know if you're familiar with Robert Williams in North Carolina. He was a guy that was head of the NAACP in
Okay.
North Carolina, and he had some issues with the Klan. And what he did, he got some brothers together, and they armed themselves, and they confronted the Klan. And as a result, they were endorsed by the NRA, and the NRA worked with them to help them to get more training that they felt as though they needed in order to be successful in protecting their community.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Robert F. Williams. He went to the NRA and was able to use that, and I think the CMP to get the guns that the Black Guard used to defend the good doctor against the Klan down there in Monroe County. Real good book. If everybody got to read that book.
Negroes with Guns.
His book is Negroes with Guns, which is a must read, and there's a book written about him that's a must read called Radio Free Dixie. Okay. Radio Free Dixie. Got to read those books about the life of the legendary Robert F. Williams.
So I know Negroes with Guns is one of your favorite books. I
know that. He's one of my personal heroes. I mean, that was a man it got lengthy. I mean, he went back and forth with Martin Luther King Jr. in letters about the role of armed self-defense, and the line between, they often discuss the line between political violence and self-defense. I personally think that, that's the line that we got to be careful about about crossing. But, his story is legendary, and everybody should be well versed and well familiar with it.
Right. Yeah, I know a lot of people that have read Negroes with Guns, and I've read it myself. There's some stuff in there, man. It can kind of hit a nerve. You know what I'm saying? When you see how we were treated, and the things that was going on, man. And it's sad that we had to go through all that to get to where we are now, and still somewhat be treated the same way.
And we lost all that as a result of gun control.
Yeah.
If you study the gun control in the Virginia colonies in the 1600s, and right before we went from indentured servants into chattel slaves, you had to what? You had to disarm. You had to disarm. So.
Right. So now, are there any other groups or organizations that you've worked with or want to work with going forward with the club?
Well, there's a group called Second Amendment Foundation, which was an organization which we work with, and they were very good in terms of helping us every opportunity they had, as well as pulling our coats as far as certain people who were speaking on the Second Amendment. And one of the people that they referred us to was Russell Meeks. I don't know if you're familiar with Russ Meeks, but he was somebody who was out of Chicago, and he was a pro-gun man, and he was going throughout the country speaking in terms of Black folks and self-defense. And the Second Amendment Foundation was one of the ones that put us on to Russ Meeks and a few other good speakers. Yeah. If you get a chance, they have a website that you can go to called Second Amendment Foundation, and I advise anybody that's interested to go and check them out, because they got a lot of good information.
Okay. Now I know you're big into people reading and getting educated. Is there any certain materials that you recommend people to read?
Well, yeah, there's a few books out. The one that he was talking about, Negroes with Guns, with Robert Williams. I think that's where you start, and then there's a number of other books that's been written that talks about Black folks being in a position to protect themselves. The exact title of some of them, I can't remember offhand. The Negroes and the Gun.
Yeah.
By Professor, the guy that Tiff interviewed, lawyer. Negroes and the Gun, Nicholas Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh, Nicholas Johnson. Yeah. He's a professor, college professor, and he wrote a piece that was really nice. That I recommend that the black folks they get a chance to read it. Because it was really good. And just kind of to stay tuned with the NRA, the National Rifle Association, behind the fact that they put out a lot of materials that's really good, in terms of helping you to get a better understanding in terms of what's happening with that whole Second Amendment piece and us as black folks, So I advise everybody, to get a membership in the National Rifle Association. So nothing else, you can get some of their materials which they publish, which are really good, as well as the training. The training that they give is real good. The handgun carry course is real good, from what I understand, and the other one we used to teach was basic pistol because they didn't have a handgun carry course when I was teaching at the time. But the basic pistol course was a good course. It really got you uh, educated in terms of what was actually really happening with the firearms. I think that anybody that thinks about purchasing or buying or owning a firearm, I think they should get a membership in the National Rifle Association. It's not that much. I think maybe $25 a month at the most. At $25 a year, I think at the most.
Now, what about some of the other organizations out there, the GOA, Gun Owners of America, and Second
Yeah,
Amendment Foundation?
they're good. They're really good.
Now, do you I know the training side of the NRA is actually really excellent, and Aqil, you're certified in everything they offer on their training side. You're a certified instructor for all of it, correct?
Not everything. Like I don't do metallic cartridge reloading yet. Some of the other stuff, but and understand something. The NRA training division is the oldest side of the NRA.
Right.
The Institute of Legislative Action just came about a couple decades ago. That's the part that Wayne LaPierre and most of them are a part of, and that's the part that gets into the political aspects of it. But the oldest part of the NRA is the training division, and it's literally a separate company, and gets its funding strictly from the training aspects of it. Doesn't get involved in the politics or the conservative side politics and all that type of stuff. And it's actually the one that was started by Union generals after the Civil War. You know what I'm saying? To be and was part of the radical Republican movement that helped free us from slavery, and has always allowed Black people to be a part of it, and even before the suffrage movement, allowed women to be a part of it.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that, and so they was a little different. Politics was a little different when he was younger, and that was the only option. When I was younger, when he was doing it, it was the only option. Now there's other options like NAGA and things like that out there, to get involved in. But back when he was doing it, that was pretty much all they had. And you remember, he coming off the heels of the NRA helping Robert Williams,
Right.
doing what they was doing. So things change,
Right.
but his point is still good that, as far as supporting the Second Amendment, whether you like them or not, they still the biggest game in the country. And if we,
Right.
if they don't get it done, then it might not get done, because right now, I also work with a lot of those other organizations, and I train for them too, right? And a lot of times, we still trying to get it together, and until we do, sometimes we gotta dance with the man what brought us, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know you work with a lot of organizations, and you write material for some groups that will remain nameless. But
but we going in. Hopefully, we going in the right direction. I think we lost a little steam when he said 22 caliber killer gets locked up and people kind of fade out. So the election happened, and now we starting to see that same. Starting to see something similar as far as the level of fervor in melanated people. Slowing down a little bit. Not realizing that the time to prepare for that stuff is now. Time to prepare for the next Trump is now. You know what I'm saying? The time to prepare for the next Joseph Christopher is now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because once that happens, a lot of times, as you saw, it gets to be too late when people go in there and now you work in the gun store, they're trying to come in there and buy ammo and guns and they can't even do it.
Right.
Now's the time to get ready. You know what I'm saying? So, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And that's what we try to get people to do. So when, ammo dry up, me and him ain't worried about it.
I'm not worried
guns
about it
dry
either.
up, me and him ain't worried about it. You know what I'm saying? In fact, people got to come see us and the price changes now. You know what I'm saying? The market is different. You know what I'm saying? And so, but he taught me that when I was young, man. He's like, you get ammo if you ain't got food.
That's right. And you should have at least 500 rounds for each firearm that you have.
All the time. That's not what you're using to train. That's just what you got on stash.
That's right. 500 rounds, a minimum of 500 rounds.
Yeah, most people would say 1,000 rounds per firearm.
That's where I'm at with it. 2,000. But we the thing is that unfortunately we get complacent again, and I worry about it sometimes. I did a class today, man, and the lack of gun culture did a job on us, and we got a much longer learning curve to coming around to some of this stuff. I'm glad that some of us are. I'm all about me, Dre. You know me well enough. I'm about get your guns, man. But guns are just tools. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have the requisite skills, then all that is extra ordnance for somebody who do got skills.
Yeah. Now, I know you train a lot. You travel a lot and train a lot. So you spend a lot of time on ranges. What do you think the biggest part of our people getting out to a range, even just going to a range just to shoot? What do you think is causing us not to do that? Do you think it's a stigma around the guns? Do you think it's just laziness? What do you think it is?
Well, you know what? I think that a club comes in and addresses that vacuum. Let's put it that way, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that initially when we got started, it would be 2, 3, maybe 4 people that would come, to our meetings. But then as things change, more people became more conscious of the fact that what they know they needed in terms of protecting themselves. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and the club is what keeps things going with people. And see, the thing about it is, there's 3 things that you got to have if you're dealing with a club. You got to have vision, you got to have passion, and you got to have dedication. And if you got that, you can explain to people the importance, and they can see the importance of what they need to do, or what kind of position they need to have themselves in the event that anything happens.
I'll add to that. He's talking about culture. I believe he's talking about culture, and that's what a gun club to me does, is that it works people into the gun culture has been the bastion of conservative politics for a long time, which is
Right.
When we look into that, we don't see ourselves there. You know what I'm saying? When we go to the range, we don't see ourselves there. That's changing. But for many years, and ask me how I know, I was that guy that was there, and I was the lone cocoa puff floating in the last cocoa puff floating in the bowl of milk, and he was even worse than I. The culture was even more stark than it was for him than it was for me. But hopefully that, and we starting to see that change. But I think what it is that we just, I asked, it's funny. I asked Tiffy that today. I said, "What do you think it is with us?" And she said, "We would just talk to pray it, pray about things. You know what I'm saying, and not necessarily get up and do things. And that's 400 years of programming, man. And so now we're coming out of that to go. You know what? We can self-determine here, but we still nervous, and we nervous that people don't accept us for that, or that the police are going to get us for doing that, or we're going to get in trouble for doing that kind of thing. And so, I think it takes, hopefully over the years, these things take time, and I'm hoping that, things like what you're doing here and what other people are doing is going to get more and more people to get out and try it and find out, oh yeah, this is actually okay. And the dominant culture also knows that they need us to keep this Second Amendment thing alive, because we are the poster children for gun control. And so they as more and more of us starting to see the other side of it, you're going to find more and more of us not necessarily just voting Democratic across the board just because that's the only option we got, but actually looking at the politics and seeing, okay, I like this, but I don't like that. So hopefully that's, we'll see some change. I do, like you said, I do a lot of shooting, but fortunately I am starting to see, for a long time it was just him, just me, a few other cats, but now I'm starting to see more and more people coming and doing it. So it's good and getting good. Like I'm showing up to classes, man, and his brother's there, and it's and training to a higher level. It used to be us, we just get the permit and that was it, but now we're getting cats that, it's hard for me to explain to people, I do classes, we shoot 1,000 rounds in a weekend, back when you could afford to do that, but now you got cats that's actually looking at it and going, you know what? And I'm showing up and there's other brothers there, you know what I'm saying? Who I don't know. It used to be if somebody was there, I knew him. And so now I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, I know you go out and you do a lot of AR courses and shotgun courses and stuff like that. And you stay in the streets doing some training. And
Yeah, because
big up you on that.
I had to, because when I, because growing up with him, man, he used to teach a lot of cops how to shoot. See, Buffalo Police Department was found guilty in federal court of deliberately not hiring minorities. And then when they would get them on, they got court ordered to hire minorities. When they would come on, they would wash out in the firearms. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't, because we don't have that culture. We can't shoot. You know what I'm saying? So they were, not a police qualification course of fire. I'm not talking about going out in the field or going to a range and just plinking. If you're just shooting for fun, that's plinking. You know what I'm saying? But if you actually shooting scored, timed courses of fire, you know what I'm saying, where you got to, draw, engage a target at different, with anatomically relevant hits at different distances, and then, get the gun back into a secure holster again. We was washing out on that. And so he went and he was teaching a lot of brothers how to do that. And so when I got on the police force years later, man, cats had love for me because I would come to them. I remember sitting in the car with Doodoo and being my partner for a while. I was like, yo, man, where'd you learn how to shoot? He said, man, Dorrie Miller. I didn't even know him. You know what I'm saying? He was in my his gun club to learn. There was cats on the force that they learned. And so try to take it to another level with that, man. I started going out and getting my own training after realizing that I needed to get better. And when I got there, I was one against the only brother there, and I'm watching these other cats doing stuff with guns I knew we wasn't doing.
Right.
Holding skills I knew we didn't have. You know what I'm saying? And so my goal was all right. Let me take my pops and took it to this level. Let me take it to the next level and bring that back, back out here to the quarters, and see what we can all raise the bar and what our expectations are, not just owning them, but actually being able to use them, with some level of performance.
Now, I know that, Aqil, you got into teaching people early in life, because I seen a picture of him standing there with a shotgun or a rifle with a bunch of kids around him, and I was like, wait a minute. That was when I first met him.
I was 14 years old, man.
Yeah.
And that picture, he started me when I was 12.
Yeah. I felt as though he would be a good peer teacher for them. Somebody of their age group would be teaching them, and they would be a lot more intensive as opposed to somebody like myself, and they could relate to him a lot better than they could relate to me. So, I started him off very early, teaching, no, you're going to teach these young kids how to shoot, and that was his job, The old heads I dealt with, and the youth he would deal with, basically.
So does it make you proud when you see him now and see all of his accomplishments?
Oh yeah, it does, because he's carrying it on. He's he's taking it to the next level, and that's what it's supposed to be about, and he can reach people that normally I wouldn't be able to reach. Okay, behind his age and his youthfulness, and they would more or less like be more encouraged to listen to what he has to say as opposed to what I had to say.
Right. Now, do you think back when you first started Dorrie Miller and you were coming up, building the club, you were educating people, did you ever have any people outside of our community and that weren't melanated come to you and say, hey, I'd like to train with you guys?
Oh yeah. No, we would train anybody, and anybody could belong to the club. Okay, it didn't make no difference in terms of what nationality or whatever. The thing about it, if you had an interest in shooting, then we would work with you. And it was one guy that was with us. He said, he worked for the Fed Federal Reserve Bank, and he was an instructor. And the thing about it was, there was a Caucasian guy that came, and he wanted to be taught. And he was a friend of a guy that I work with, another security officer. I said, sure, tell him to come on. So he came to the course, and he learned up under the guy. But the black guy stepped to me and said, I don't like training white folks. And I said, well, you do it on your job, so what's the big issue with this? But we would train anybody that had an interest and wanted to improve their skills or develop some skills with the firearm. You were welcome. We had an open house.
Right. So somebody was saying I got a lot of feedback coming from a microphone, and the feedback is coming. They've got the speaker turned up on that side so he can hear me a little bit better.
Yeah, we sorry about that. We tried to turn it down, but Pop's ears don't work like they used to anymore. So.
Yeah. Like a whole lot of other things.
Oh man. That's all those years of shooting without ear pro, brother. That's all it is.
That's old school right there, man. Yeah, no ear pro. Just go out and shoot.
So now you ended up taking training to the next level, and you opened up Citizen Safety Academy. As a matter of fact, you were in the process of opening it when I met you. You hadn't even finished the website yet. You were almost done with it when I met you. Now, what inspired you to start that school?
The need. I thought it was a need, and if you notice, you got the shirt on. I appreciate you holding my swag down right there, man. And you see the colors. You know what I mean? You see the colors in the Dorie Miller logo. You know what I'm saying? I was raised red, black, and green, man. I was raised Republic of New Africa. This man here. You know what I'm saying? I was looking at a picture of me the other day with the Nguzo Saba on the wall behind me. You know what I'm saying? We grew up like that. But what I didn't see was, self-preservation and self-defense comes first before you can even eat.
Right.
And as one thing I did learn doing the law enforcement thing for a while was that, we suffered disproportionately from not just, violence from people who don't look like us, but unfortunately violence, like my father used to say, the tyranny of the criminal element in our own community sometimes, wherever it comes from, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
right.
I grew up, we grew up in a rough neighborhood. He told me one story, I grew up fighting a lot, man, and going through a lot of dumb stuff in the neighborhood. And I found out later on, he had us there for a reason. He wanted us to come up tough, you know what I'm saying? And we did, because we had to, we fought every day out there, you know what I'm saying? But I did notice that none of the older people, the big kids, bothered us, and they didn't bother us because of him, you know what I'm saying? Because he had that rep. But coming from that background and watching him help people, because the guy he told you about, that he the white guy that he let in the group later on ended up getting on the police department. So when I got on, that dude looked out for me. He covered me on some stuff, and when stuff was coming down on me, he had my back on some stuff. And so when actually he had my back when some other people who looked like me was coming after me on some stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so when I got out, I decided that my lifelong mission was going to be to continue what he was doing, which was to
educate,
make sure that we give responsibly armed any type of progressive or good get people of any nature, but geared specifically towards us. You know what I'm saying? So I will teach, the door is open for anybody, but there's certain people that we going out to get. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The ones we going out to get, are us, because we we love our community, we love our people, and and nothing. When I was a police officer, man, I realized that the most victimized and the most victimized person demographic that I dealt with was Black women. Right. And so my personal thing was to go out and give every single one of them teeth. You know what I'm saying? So that they could defend themselves, and sometimes fill in the gaps where we didn't sometimes stand up and do what we were supposed to do. Which is why the other version of my logo has what? It has look like a grown up with two kids. Unfortunately, that's a representation of what? Like if you look the ITI on the logo on your shirt, that's an unfortunate representation of what's going on as far as the Black family.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I dealt with, being the police officer, helping out a lot of single black women. You know what I mean? And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna make sure that anybody who wants to be able to defend themselves, especially, people who look like my mama, look like my wife, look like my sisters. I want to make sure that my daughters make sure that they're able to defend themselves.
And my man said it right here. Education has no color.
And give it to and not only that, not only give them what they need. I wanted to be able to give them the best. I wanted to be able to teach anybody. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to take my skills and the education level to whatever level it would. So I consider myself going and bringing it back, and teaching whoever could benefit from it. But like I said, in a way that we could, digest it, and the way that would bring us close, because a lot of times we look and we don't see us there, and so we'd be like, man, I ain't even going, I don't want to deal with that. Because the first time I went to TDI, man, in 98, 99, I told my friends, man, Ice-T's, Surviving the Game had just come out, right? As I'm telling these dudes, I'm like, I'm about to go on down here to East Bethany, Ohio, middle of nowhere, Ohio, to go get some tactical training, man. And my boys was like, crazy? You going where to do what? You know what I'm saying? And then when I came back, I was like, listen, man, they rocking down there. We need to go down there and get this information. You know what I'm saying? And one of my dudes, big Aqiel, may Allah have mercy on him, man. He came down there with me, man, and came back a couple times, and we just tried to bring it back to the community.
So, has Citizen Safety Academy reached your expectations to this point, and where do you see it going from here?
I mean, it's doing well. I mean, at this point, I'm trying to get, the actual academy portion to get, I want a brick and mortar. I want a place where people can come. So we're working on that, and hopefully, we'll get something like that going up soon. In the meantime, it's been growing. Once Tiff Johnson got on, things just went to another level, because, I didn't know, I'm not very articulate. She is. And, together we formed the Wonder Twins, you know what I'm saying? And so having her on board since she's been coming, I've been able to actually do the stuff that I would like to do. And, we're making some inroads, we're starting, things are starting to come together, but we, sky's the limit, and we just want to, what we're doing now is, our focus now is, instructor development, more gateway instructor development type stuff, you know what I'm saying? So that, how do you teach what the gun industry would call the non-traditional student?
Mm-hmm.
How do you bring it to people who don't believe that that's their right, you know what I'm saying, or they're afraid, or they, they think that, they're not sure, because when they look, they don't see themselves being represented at all. And the cool thing about that is that a lot of industry people come to us now and going, hey, yo, how do I get more black people in my place? You know what I'm saying? And yeah, me and Tiff first thing was like, yo, what's your marketing look like? You got any black people on your marketing? No, man, you gotta, because we look and we go, man, I don't see none of us there. I'm good, and so we want to change that. Like, I love what Adam is doing over there at On Target, man. Coming there, y'all, got all kinds of, he actually doing his part to some extent to reach out, because what the last management was like in that place.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, with Adam, since he's taking over On Target, he's younger, so he doesn't have that color separation in his heart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he's he definitely does his part as far as like bridging that gap a little bit.
He does, man. And I got love for the dude for what he's doing over there. And I mean it. Like, I'm trying to, I told him, he was like, yo, I'm about to open up this other spot, man, where you train there. I was like, yeah, I'll teach there. I said, more important, I'm trying to make it a destination for him. I'm going to bring people nationwide there and bring, so he can get his, because, once he get his money, that means he'll let us do other things too. You know what I'm saying? And ain't no hating it for me. You know that,
Right.
I think that we can all eat off of this. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate on other instructors. We can all, there's 300 million people that need to be trained. Every instructor out there could train 100 people a day. And by the time they got finished doing that 20 years later, it's a whole nother generation of people that need to be taught.
Right. And that's a good thing, man. And a lot of people don't, especially our people, they look at it as, they get into the gun, they getting their carry permits, exercising their Second Amendment right. But technically, it wasn't designed for us. It was designed for them to protect themselves against us and from us, and could keep us in control and in check.
Right.
But we just happened to get put in a position to where when we got our rights as people, we were able to take advantage of it.
Justice Taney said that the Second Amendment didn't apply to us because if it did, that we weren't people. And it was Brown versus Board, not Brown versus Board, Plessy versus Ferguson. Because if we were people, then we would have Second Amendment rights. The Second Amendment didn't apply to us to the 14th Amendment.
Right.
And when you think about it, a friend of mine explained it like this. He was like, the militia, the army was to fight enemies foreign. Maybe, the militia was to keep down insurrections.
Right.
And the insurrections they were worried about was from the slaves and the Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? And so, no, the Second Amendment was what we were thought about in the Second Amendment was quelling us and keeping us in our place, more or less.
And especially after Haiti.
Yes. You got to think that's in the background, especially after 1804 with the Haitian Revolution. They wasn't trying to let they had to make sure they kept us in our place. And so, like I said, we didn't really until 1865. Actually, after that, when the radical Republicans brought along, the what's the time period, that short 10-year period after the Civil War that everything was going okay for Reconstruction. So during Reconstruction, we was able to get that stuff. But then what happened? They rolled it back. They rolled out those proxy armies, which were like the Klan and those guys. And then what happens? They pull it back. They roll us back 100. It take 100 years. You got a Civil Rights Act of 1864, 1865. And so you got to have another one 100 years later. You know what I'm saying? And so what I tell people is, don't forget, we had black congressmen right after the Civil War, and then that went away. And the way it went away was people with guns telling people who don't have guns what to do. What to do. You know what I'm saying? And so the Second Amendment didn't apply to us until the 14th and 15th Amendments. And I think sometimes we forget, if you don't remember your history, what's your favorite saying about history?
If you out of all of our research, history is the one that rewards us most.
Why Malcolm say that?
He said that behind the fact that we would repeat it if we didn't take heed.
Edmund Burke, George Santayana, those who do not learn from history, are doomed to repeat it.
And Malcolm said, out of all of our research, history is the one that rewards us most.
Even Winston Churchill said, "Man, the deeper I look in the past, the farther I see in the future."
Yeah,
that's heavy right there.
Yeah, it's laid out. It's definitely laid out, my brother. Heavy.
So let me see. We got people making comments.
I just learned something new. Oh yeah, what did they learn new?
So you can see those comments. Oh, you can. They're right down.
Yeah.
There you go.
Did they say what they
ask him? He talked to me.
Yeah, he said he wanted to know where y'all were located. So they're here in Tennessee, Norwood. They're here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee, right outside Nashville, where BigDre is, right down the street from BigDre.
Right. Now you have a brick and mortar school, but you don't have a range. And your goal is to have an actual brick and mortar school with a range.
That's the goal. So that anybody can come and stay there for a little while and get it in, you know what I'm saying? And that's the goal, is to be able to, I want it to be an academy, you know what I'm saying? We're going to have standards, and you only come if you're really ready to get to work with your stuff, you know what I'm saying? Meaning it's all about skill development, and we want to have a program where people can come and they can keep coming back if they want and build on it, because what training is to teach you how to practice. So we're gonna train you. You go, you practice, and then you come back, and you with the intent of building and maintaining skill. Because, and you said it's uncut, right? I can speak freely, right?
Speak freely, man. Say what you want.
I love the fact that now I see Black people with guns. doing stuff with guns, collecting guns, shooting guns, modifying guns, doing all that stuff. I love seeing it. And so I see a picture with a bunch of sisters standing there and they holding their guns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I think it's wonderful. But then I have to ask myself, the tactician in me, right? Because, you know, we talk about guns, real, when they get into the military, they start talking about logistics, you know what I'm saying, and that kind of thing. So when I see that, I go, okay, well, is that a defense, or is that just guns for the enemy and women for the enemy to use for what he want? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For example, when those brothers was all standing out in the Stone Mountain, with the NFAC, right? One of the dudes from the Spartans, one of the dudes from the 5%ers, 3%ers was talking to me, and he was like, "Listen, man," he said, "how can I contact that guy?" I said, "Well," he said, "that's not how you do it." I said, "What you mean?" He said, "He calling on the militias. Had the militias showed up, they just shot him from the tree line." You don't stand out in the open. What I learned from him, if nothing else, is that you maneuver and shoot, or you get maneuvered upon and shot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you don't sit there, all that. So what you basically did, put a bunch of people out there to get murdered and get their guns taken. That becomes ordnance for their enemy.
Well, see what happens, when you take all your people and you put them in a large group like that, you basically showing your whole hand. So they already know, we ain't got to worry about
I'm
this.
saying the days where we got the army here, they got another army there, we stand across a long field and shoot volleys at each other. We don't do that anymore. You say, and so you standing out in the middle of nowhere, you know what I'm saying, way out in the open, you know what I'm saying, inviting terrible things to happen to people who believe that what you teaching them is the right thing. That's why you got to be very careful with this stuff. Yeah. And so I'm happy to see us doing this. I just want us to just not stop with the trappings of it. I want us to really, and I understand something. That's part of the whole thing, because even in the larger gun culture, that's part of it. You got people that are about training. You got people that's just about, other aspects of it, just having fun with it. And I'm cool with that. But I'll tell people, you should be able to get yourself, if nothing else, just a base level of skill, kind of skill you got, you know what I'm saying? Where that, you can hit what you need to hit defensively to protect yourself from the criminal element, you know what I'm saying, whatever crime is being, violent crime is being perpetrated on you, that you can put a stop to that as soon as possible, and that takes a little bit of work. And more than anybody else, that skills are what? They're perishable, man. And if you don't maintain them, they lose them. And you got to push them to a high level so that they fall down above what you need to survive. Right. And that takes work.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, people don't want to do work.
I don't have a lot of the training that you have. And Dorrie Miller was a big part of, what I was wanting to do training wise. But unfortunately, I had so much going on personally. I had to step back for a minute, but I will be back active.
Oh, we got that seat. We got that. We holding that seat for you.
Oh yeah, I feel you. I appreciate you. Yeah, I'm coming back soon. But yeah, I had a lot going on, and Aqil knows. There was a point where I went through some serious stuff in my life, and I had to step away from the firearm side of things for a minute. And I came back in.
He's the man.
Yeah,
that's the man.
Yeah, that's the man. You'll get somebody right now. There's one thing that I tell people about, and that's your favorite drill that you always. It's something that you live by, really. 5, 5, 5. 5 rounds, 5 yards, 5 seconds.
5 had 5. Put together by G.R.A.V.I.T.E.E, codified to some extent. What Claude Warner did was he added the 5 times. It's 5 shots into a 5-inch circle at 5 yards within 5 seconds. Mm-hmm. That's G.R.A.V.I.T.E.'s version. And then Claude Warner added, you should be able to do it 5 times to show that you can do it on demand. What it is I consider a basic level of proficiency. When Gila wrote about it, she said that this is what you should be able to do to show that a handgun fits you. What I came along with what Warner said was this is a basic level of marksmanship or gun handling that somebody should be able to do with their gun. Why a 5-inch circle is about the size of a fist, and we want fist-sized groups in training so that they don't go outside of that 8-inch circle that we need to put them in under stress if we're shooting under stress. And so when I first, learned about it and I talked to him about it, I was like, seems pretty easy. You know what I'm saying? Everybody should be able to do that, right? He said, "No, Aqil, I think this is about the level of a bachelor's degree." I said, "A bachelor's degree, man, that's more like a GED." You know what I'm saying? Then I started running people through it, right? And I was like, "Dang!" So then I got to the point, okay, maybe it's a high school degree, diploma with honors, you know. Then I said, okay, maybe it's an associate's degree. You know and unfortunately, I find a lot of people can't do it. You're shooting it from the low ready, all right? So the 5-inch circle, we use a BA bullseye, you know, the BA center. And we roll it out. And I got people who have done extensive, what they call tactical training. But I don't care what all your tactical training is. If you can't hit the target quickly, on demand, under stress, without missing, it don't do you any good, right? All the maneuvering don't do good if you don't ultimately then hit the target. And so I've been running people through it, and a lot of people can't do it. It blows my mind all the time. I'm like, man, and a certain organization hired me to put their stuff together. I ran 35 instructors through it. 3 could do it from the low ready. That's not even including doing it from the draw. For me, Dre, we gonna be doing it from the draw. You got to come out your holster and be able to do that, right? And what I tell people is that's what we call a standard. You got to set standards. Okay, how good is good enough? What should you be able to do with this gun so that you know that you can protect you and your family with it? It ain't nothing just to have it. You got to be able to do something with it, all right? And I'm not saying you got to go out there and do nothing crazy tactical. All you got to do is be able to do what? Get it out from wherever you get it. You got it. Get it on target. Get the relevant hits. Get it down out of your eyesight so you can see what you need to do, and then get it away before the cops get there.
Now,
black people can't stand there with guns in their hands. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, so you got to be able to do those things, and I'm finding that now. The cool thing is my brother Chad King up in shout out to Chad King with the Black Bottom Gun Club up in Detroit, man. He just posted. I'm not a big IG dude. I got to get better about it, but he just posted on IG. Him running the 5-5, and the cool thing was he didn't filter it. It showed that he didn't, he actually didn't do it, but he tried and he got close. And then Big Unc Austin down there in Charlotte, big shout to Big Unc Austin down in Charlotte, Charlotte doing his thing down there. He showed it, so I'm gonna get up there probably tomorrow and I'm gonna shoot it. And if I pass it, and shame on me if I don't, if I hold it as a standard. But if I don't, then I'm gonna show it unfiltered and I'm gonna post it out there. And I'm trying to get people to get out there and start so that we got not just, we always want to hold our gun collectors. We love them. We always want to go our people who build them. We love them. But we also need to get the side of the house. We need to grow the side of the African-American gun community. We need to grow the side of the house that is also into what? Performance shooting of the gun. All right. Or, standard shooting of the gun.
Right. Now, so y'all understand, when you train with Aqil, he takes it to a whole nother level. So when I first got around, we was talking or whatever. He was telling me all this stuff. They have what you call a proof day. So I decided I'm gonna go out here and shoot with him at proof day. I'm like, I shoot all right. I'll be all right. Man, I have never been so embarrassed in my life.
I hear you, bro. I hear you.
I was like, oh my God.
But you showed up, man. And you listen, you went out on your shield. That's all you could do. You know what I'm saying? You gave as good as you got. And that's all you could do. But the cool thing is you knew where you were, you knew what you had to work on, you know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. And what proof day is, a lot of times we ask, well, can you shoot? Everybody say, yeah. I don't know no dude that got his gun say, no, I can't shoot. All men are great shooters, great drivers, and great lovers, right? We are, everybody, right? We just born like that, right? So when I say, can you shoot? They go, yeah. So let's prove it. And that's where proof day come in. You know what I'm saying? So we get together and the goal is to have a good time. And I'm going to tell you the coolest thing about proof day is that, Dre, like you said, don't nothing work on people like their ego. Mm-mm. We could throw money up there. We can throw accolades up there. The biggest deal is that especially with black people, because we play the dozens all day long anyway. Yeah. We cracking and ribbing and everything. and if you show up and you can't even, and it's hard. The hardest thing is get up there and deal with how your ego might feel if you don't do as well as you thought you should do. So I'm gonna put him on Front Street right now because I got love for my man Big Marv, right? Shout out to Big Marv. Shout out to Big Marv Smart, who was an excellent gunman who can shoot his butt off. Yeah, but that one year, Jeanette kind of edged him a little bit on a couple of those joints, man. And I felt for the dude, but you can't help him out. I gotta let him go through that on his own. You know what I'm saying? But the cool thing is he came out the other side of it better. You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing is you just got to keep showing up, and you just got to keep. So that's another thing that we're going to get going. In fact, I'm going to do another proof day, and we'll do another proof day, and I'm going to try to make it like a semi-annual thing. And eventually when CSA gets, hopefully it's brick and mortar, to be something that, it'll be like the tactical invitational that Tom Givens and them used to do. You know what I'm saying? Where people would come and they would, show up and they would go through and, you would try to win it. You know what I'm saying? And people would place and things like that. I want to get something like that going again.
The one thing Proof Day taught me, and not only showed me what I needed to work on, but it also, I had never shot under stress until that point. So when you're sitting there, you're like, okay, I got to do this many shots, reload, or clear malfunction. You got to hit this target this way, and you only got like 5 seconds to go from the holster, get all this done. Dude, when you add that stress in there, it's like, oh, crap. And you just watch this dude in front of you nail it. You're like, oh, man, come on. Let me get this. Come on, guy. Give me this one. You know what I'm saying? That's like when we was at a Dorrie Miller meeting one night. And your man, we was doing the 5-5, doing it from the low ready. And he looks at me, he's like, you should be doing this from the drop. And, he was had his little chest pumped out. And so Tiffy was like, if you're going to teach it, you got to be able to do it yourself. He got up there and he shit the bed on it. And I was like, oh!
Which will make you practice more than anything else. Your ego, you know what I'm saying? If you know that's coming, and that's why a lot of dudes don't show up. You know what I'm saying? Because they hearts fail on them at that last minute. I mean, I don't win it all the time. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and people expect me to win it. Here go my Aqil, he gonna win it, and then I lose it, and then for the next 6 months, I gotta eat crow like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't play the way I was supposed to, and that comes with it. But what I'm always gonna do, show up. So we got to get it in. You know what I'm saying? So but you'll find that sometimes the positive side about it is that sometimes different people need different type of motivators to get them up to put that work in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I tell people all the time, get yourself with a group of people who are going to do that kind of thing. Get who are going to get out there and push you so that you can push yourself to get better. Because if you, and one of my favorite sayings is, if you're the baddest man in the room, you need a new room.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's time to go to keep
going and elevating. So if you've gotten to a point to where you can't go and elevate no more from the people around, it's time to get with some new people.
Time to go to that room, get better, and then come back to your people and bring them back up with you.
Yep. Man, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Now, question. CSA. I know your dad's a big influence on you. And you have brothers. You have brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they as involved in firearms as you are?
Mm-mm.
No.
Yeah. They do it, and Zay, my youngest brother, is in Dorrie Miller now. He hang out with us now. He getting it together. They was raised, but then they didn't take to it like I did. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this is right here is my hero. This is my idol. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he up there in the pantheon with me with Robert Williams, Malcolm X, you know what I'm saying? MLK, because this dude, he broke a lot of barriers back where we are to do what he did, and he was a courageous man to go in places that a lot of Black people didn't feel like they. I remember he told me a story of, was it Wayne LaPierre that asked you what should he say, or was it the other president of the NRA?
No, it was Warren Cassidy.
Warren Cassidy was the president of the G.R.A.V.I.T.E.E. My father of the NRA. My father brought him to speak to Dorrie Miller in Buffalo, and he said right before he go on, he turned to my dad. I never spoke to many Black people. What do I say? What you tell him?
Yeah, I say the same thing that you would say to white folks.
So he was. So he was, he was a trailblazer in that regard, man. And I felt like, the hard work that he put into this, I could do no less, than to try to carry it on, take it to the next level, man, and let people know, because he was doing it back before social media and all that kind of stuff, man. He was, you see what he's showing you. He's showing you a flyer.
Right.
How old they just that's how far back they go with it. You know, they was
What's the year on
he was
that?
talking. This is 2013 on this one, but he was talking to me about you got a pamphlet. You know, like you know, we don't use pamphlets no more. But let me see what I can do. Say, you know, but that was the tools of the trade when he was doing it. And man, he'd be out there. And I was always, as a kid, I was proud of my dad. You know what I'm saying? And you know, he was upstanding dude. He, you know, did what he do, and he was the kind of guy. Just understand something, people who do this and try to teach, and what you doing here, Dre, spreading this gospel is. This is the preservation of life, man. This is
Right.
the most. This is the highest order. This is the highest calling, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we the people. We the vanguard. You know what I'm saying?
And they have taken some polls and found out that the black folks are more receptive to this now than they
Right.
were a few years back, you know, because they see the importance of what's happening. And I was saying, believe me or not, Trump helped us with a whole lot, you know, behind the fact that his attitude and his way in which he treated black folks, with black folks tuned in real quick to see that you know, that he was somebody that they needed to, you know, really consider thinking about before they cast a ballot, because this guy has always been anti-black since his whole program.
And sometimes we need those reminders. That's the one cool thing about stuff like that, is that it shake a lot of people. I mean, you know, sometimes rough times bring the best out of people and bring people around to go, okay, you know what, you know, maybe I need to make some changes here and do something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, you know, there's that's the silver lining to that cloud, is that people got, you know, a lot of people got up off their butts and said, you know what, man, you know, they started to act like what they already knew, which was what, that the police can't save you.
Right.
Right.
And that's what this article is about. You know, I was just we were educating folks, and it says police not obligated to protect individuals. Court decides.
Let me show you what the date on that is. The top of that is 1984.
Yeah.
So this here was the Minister of Information. This was the dude that was going around making sure that, you know, you wake up. Here you go. You know, your self-defense is on you, and you need to be doing something about it.
That was the kind of stuff we used to pass out, you know, at meetings, you know.
And that's a beautiful thing, that even in an age where they didn't have the technology we have now, they
Right.
still found a way to get the information out there.
Right, right. And like I say, initially when we started out, we had maybe 3 or 4 people who were sincere and dedicated, who could see it and appreciate the value of what we was talking about. But then as things went on, as time went on, we got a lot of people. We had to hold up on the membership because we wanted to train people, and we didn't have instructors that could train people. So we had to shut the membership down until we got those people trained. You know, because we didn't want to have people coming to our meetings and they not trained. We wanted to make sure that everybody had a basic training. You know, in terms of firearm safety. And we didn't have that, so we just had to shut the membership down. But then the membership had grown and grown and grown, and it was. I tell you, I was getting calls from all over the country, you know, in terms of people who were interested in what we were doing and tried to see if they could do it in their town.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Now,
Yes,
what do y'all see, like, well, not necessarily what do y'all see, well, yeah, where do y'all see the club going forward from here? Like, what do you think they're going to be doing? What do you see yourself?
it's going to take a minute, but you know you got to allow for that, okay? And a lot of times, you know, if things don't happen right away, we kind of get disillusioned, but we can't do that. Like I said, it's 3 things that you got to have. You got to have vision, you got to have passion, and you got to have dedication. And if you got that, you can go ahead and move and do some things, you know. But the people that you involve yourself with, and the people who come to the club, they're the kind of people that you want, that have those 3 things in mind. And you got to have that. If you don't have that, this is gonna be rough to try and do anything.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna grow it locally here again, and the affiliate we're affiliated. We are a part of Dorie Miller Network, which is Dorie Miller Rifle and Pistol Club, Buffalo, New York. Dorie Miller Gun Club. Dorie Miller, by the way, was a black sailor who during the attack on Pearl Harbor, man, broke the law by running up on the top deck and grabbing one of those big guns and shot down Japanese fighters. Right, breaking the law. He was. And one of my favorite things they said about him was while he was doing that, they said that he didn't smile a lot, but while he was shooting down those Japanese, manning that gun, they said he had a smile on his face as he was doing his thing. So what you want to say something?
No, I was just gonna say they did a film on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was it Cooper Gooding? I think.
Gooding.
Cooper Gooding. You remember that not too long ago?
Mm-hmm. It was called Pearl Harbor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he was the first hero of Pearl Harbor. But you don't hear anything about him. You understand? But we had that responsibility to teach our young people that this is who Dorie Miller was and this is what Dorie Miller was about. And I figure if we go ahead and we do that, then we've done something.
So one of the Dorie Miller shirts I have.
I'm sorry. So to answer your question, we're gonna grow it here, and help to start and get back to developing the culture. Now that we in the South too, we're gonna develop the culture, and then at that point start a network of affiliate, as opposed to running the casino. I had to go back and forth. Do we run a national organization? I decided not to do that, but we just run affiliated clubs. Saying like a network of clubs that kind of support each other. And we'll work it from there. We'll see what's going on. But first, we want to get the culture going and get some things in place first.
Gotcha. So I know y'all probably seen me wear this shirt in the past. I know you've seen it. So one of the shirts I have is a sketch of Dorie Miller of the shit shooting the guns.
Right. Oh, really? I like to be
it's the cartoon. That thing is he gave it to me.
That's where it came from?
That's where it came from. It came from him.
Okay. I'll get him one of those shirts.
Yeah. He'd love it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I got you. Just let me know your size. I'll get it for you.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I had when I did that shirt, I was like, I love this. That's probably one of my favorite shirts.
It's a nice shirt. It is a nice shirt.
It says a lot. It says a lot. It says a lot. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll be looking forward to that. Okay.
Trust me, he's gonna be asked do it because he's gonna be asking me about it.
I'll get on that ASAP. Yeah, I'll get on that ASAP. I'll get you one too. I
appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I love that shirt. But yeah, man, I greatly appreciate y'all, coming through and chopping it up with us and giving us this information, this knowledge. Now, somebody asked earlier, do you have a YouTube? And you do have a YouTube.
Yeah, I got to get better. Man, me and social media and YouTube, I got to get with somebody. And those are the type of things I'm kind of working on getting the academy up. And then when I do that, I intend to do more of that. But I'll make sure that, I'll get it to you. Dorie Miller is going to get its YouTube channel. We're going to get some videos on there, some basic stuff that people can use, learn from, and share with others. And I'll probably put those same ones on Dorie Miller's, on Dorie Miller's channel, and then CSA's channel. I'll probably share some of those videos at that point. But I'm going to get better about that. But I can honestly say it's been kind of busy. And so I'm kind of glad, when you run a small business, you kind of got to eat when the eating is good, because you never know when the rain gonna stop and the crop's gonna dry up. So when it's time to graze, you kind of graze as full as you can. So, but we do hope to get some stuff out and start spreading this information for people. But if they follow you, you keep them up on the stuff. If there's anything that they want to know, they can get to us through you or through our website or whatever. And and if they want, we got a website. Dorie Miller's got his website, DorieMiller.org. citizensafety.com is for CSA. And you know how we are. If anybody needs anything that we can help out with, we'll be happy to.
Be more than willing.
Oh yeah, I already know, man. And, and that's important to have people like that in the club that's willing to help out. Because if you're trying to build an organization like that, you've got to reach out to the community. You've got to give back. You got to be willing to help out.
You do. So we just wanted to kind of let that kernel of the inner circle kind of gel a little bit before we kind of just because I've watched in other organizations and they got some serious growing pains as a result of You've seen some implode right in front of your face, man. I'm trying to avoid that because sometimes, you can grow a little too big, too quick. You know what I'm saying? So like he said, I'm not worried about it. You know what I'm saying? One thing I can count on is it's gonna get rough. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about that. You know what I'm saying? This here, man, is this is a growth industry in different ways. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to make it in because it's not something that people see a value in all the time. But as things, I have no doubt in my mind that things like it was scary in 2020 and scary in 2021. You know what I'm saying? It'll be scary again, and it'll be sooner than it was the last time. So it's just a matter for me right now getting things in place so that we can do more for more people going on in the future.
Have y'all been keeping up with all the stuff they're trying to push through as far as gun control and stuff like that?
He's been on it. It's a little different with me in Tennessee than it was in him and for him in New York. He keeps up on it. I keep up on it. But up in New York, they was fighting tooth and nail because it's New York State.
Right.
So they was a lot of the stuff they were doing was more like ours is more training. Theirs back then was more legislative because we got being Tennessee being a red state. The Tennessee Firearms Association is they dead serious about kicking doors down on and fighting on the 2A thing. So we keep an eye with them, and I do meet with them, and occasionally I'll go talk to them. Like they've had me at their monthly meetings sometime giving talks about Black community and guns and things like that. So I've got like the dude who's the Rutherford County chairman. I work with him. In fact, he came to the first proof day. Good dude. And so we hook up with them, and keep our eye on things going nationwide, watching what Biden doing and things like that. So because like I said, a lot of times we as Black people run into issues with gun control being couched in the Democratic Party, and wanting to support pro 2A stuff without supporting all of the rest of the stuff that comes with the cold conservative political wing. That's something that we just we get caught up in. But unfortunately, we have to educate ourselves on that stuff because if not, a lot of times stuff gets pushed on us that we think works for us, and it doesn't necessarily. For example, remember it was the Black Congressional Caucus that supported those cocaine sentencing laws that sent a lot of mine and your friends to prison. You know what I'm saying? For long periods of time, you hitting them with 10 years, for that much crack. You know what I'm saying? That much crack. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to be careful what gets pushed on us, and keep our eye on the 2A thing. But I found that just as much as it is a national fight, it really is a local fight too. It really is.
Right.
And he was a part of Scope. He was a part of a lot of the organizations. In fact, he was a good friend of Joe Totaro, who was a very progressive man, and miss that guy. He was a really good guy, and he was very much about minorities and Black people being armed. And he was second behind Alan Gottlieb. He was the second in command in the Second Amendment Foundation, and he was a Democrat.
Okay. Well, there are pro 2A Democrats, and then there you got,
and that's growing. That's nice that movement is finally growing too. But where we are is 2A. I am me and him. 2A above all else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We'll deal with all the other stuff, but the most important things is to me, the firearm is the hedge between us and tyranny. All right, tyranny of the criminal nature, tyranny of governments, tyranny of fringe movements, tyranny of anything. You know what I'm saying? You cannot let your firearms go. You can't.
Nah. I don't care what happens. I'm not letting it go.
I don't care if gun control is wrapped up in whatever flowery. I don't care if you wrap gun control up in red, black, and green. I can't do it because right after that comes tyranny. And that started way back in the Virginia colony, and it's been something we literally have been fighting. He told me stories, man, about what his grandma would tell you about what the Klan would do when they came through the house back in the South, man. You know what I'm saying? And the first thing they do is the first thing they ask for.
Well, they went through with guns.
Where the guns?
Where the guns?
Where the guns at? Because once they take your guns, then you can't defend yourself.
Right. And I was just reading about that not too long ago. I forget which book it was, but it was where they talked about that's the first thing that they looked up for was the guns, to get the guns out of the hands of the Black people.
First thing the Klan did when they rolled up in your house was give us the guns. In the library, I'm inheriting this, brother. I can't even show you what's on the walls around here, man. There's so many books now. He got 30 books stacked up by his recliner over there. You know what I'm saying? Constantly, man, keeping that going. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, that's what I inherited. How could I not take care of that?
Well, when he first came, we first started Dorrie Miller, and he first told us about him, and when he was coming, he was like, he loves to read. And now that was a part of Dorrie Miller, wasn't it? Like the original.
Yeah, it was. We used to have a book club, and the books that we would read would be along the Second Amendment and other related titles. But that was one of the things that we did. People thought it was awfully strange that you had a gun club that had a book club in it, and they thought it was awfully sad, different that we had that. But we wanted our people to be knowledgeable and be able to intelligently explain exactly what the position was and why they had that position. And we would have once a month we had a book that we would all take and read and then come back and review it. And the thing about it is, what I loved about it is that we have people, all types of people. We have professors, college professors, as well as just regular street folks that would come through and say, well, look, I understand exactly what you guys are trying to do, and I really appreciate it because it makes a lot of sense in comparison to everything else that we've been hearing out here. So we said, well, thank you, brother. We sure appreciate your comment, But we used to have a book club in the rifle club, which we thought was necessary because we wanted our people to be able to intelligently explain what their position was.
Okay.
And to this day, I'm still getting like this one. It's a folder he got with papers in it with some articles he want me to send off to his friends and stuff. Every day he giving me a manila envelope. He got a stack of manila envelopes over there. He always stuffing articles in them and sending them out to people. You know what I'm saying? Here, check this out. Or if I find an article, the other day it's funny. He got mobility issues, right? Because he lost one of his legs in an accident, and I can't find him one day, man. And he found out there was what was that magazine? It was a magazine on slavery, or was it?
Yeah, it was on slavery.
Yeah, man.
Slave trade.
Slave trade. He went up and he ran out, drove out. I couldn't find him, man. He didn't call Barnes and Noble, found out they had some, put them all on hold, and went out there to get them so he can come back. And that means I got photocopy work to do and packaging it up and mailing it out to people and all this. So right now there's people getting stuff in their mail right now, just articles, stuff they need to be reading on. You know what I'm saying? So that's what he do, man. And he was, like I said, I read Negroes with Guns when I was like 10 or 11. He gave me that book when I was like 10. You read this.
It's a classic.
Back then I couldn't say no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He said, "You read this." You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Still listening right now.
Yeah.
You still listening right now.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful that you and your dad had that type of relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of kids out here that don't have that relationship with their fathers.
They don't.
So they're not getting that education.
On a side note, you know what else he made me read at a young age?
Uh-oh.
The Turner Diaries.
The Turner Diaries.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had him read some real stuff.
Back then, that was the handbook for the white supremacist movement.
So you had him reading that. You want him to be prepared to take on the world at all costs.
You know what I'm saying? He's like, listen, you got to read this too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? So when they were talking about the Turner, they were talking about the Turner Diaries later, but I knew about it because as a kid, he gave me the book and was like, read this. You got to read this. I'm
finna order that today.
That was, Turner Diaries was Tim D. McVeigh's book. He didn't write it, but that was the book that was the book. That's that movement's book.
Yeah, Timothy McVeigh. He was his mind was in a different place. And a lot of people, there's still people out there with that same mindset.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. And I'm gonna tell you what they doing. They training.
Every day.
What you said? You know, I went through a phase. I like to go on Instagram and stuff. You know, I like to see the funny stuff, but it's good to see videos of us, you know, training and stuff like that as well.
Yes. Yeah.
But what I do get tired of, though, and I don't see it as much now as I used to, is when you see the black girls, it'd be young black girls, 12, 13, 14, out in the driveway twerking and stuff. And then that video will flip over to the white girl the same age, and she's out on the range running, doing 3-gun. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, where are our priorities at here?
Yeah,
you know seriously. Man.
While we Turking, they training.
Yeah, and,
you know.
And my guy said, yes, Turner Diaries. I read that off white supremacy. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
So yeah, we gotta. But the cool thing is, hopefully, we getting it together. Hopefully, and start, you know, and like I said again, it's important that we explain that, you know, we Americans, you know, we support the Constitution, you know what I'm saying, and the rule of law, and you know, and abiding by the law and doing the right thing, what you're supposed to do, you know, but there are elements in this country that don't like you for whatever reason, and right now you want to be at least be as prepared as they are. That's all.
You want to be more prepared.
I agree, you know what I'm saying, but at the least, you know what I'm saying, at least, you know, you want to take that thing very seriously, because I find the cognitive dissonance of us pretty stark sometimes when we afraid of the police, but we need them.
Do we really need them though? Because,
well, you know what I'm saying, and I mean is we act like we do, meaning we're not taking care of our own community sometimes. You know what I'm saying.
But even with that, you know, when you think about it, when you call the police, by the time the police get there, situation's over. Right. All they're doing is doing some paperwork. You can do that yourself. So do we really need it?
Right. So what I'm saying is that, but we don't think like that. That's my point. You know what I'm saying? We don't think like that. You know what I'm saying? As a people, you know what I'm saying? We don't think like that. You know what I'm saying? We not, you know, fixing our own issues in our own communities and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Right. We not making sure. You know what the gangs are doing in LA? They're making sure they people on the police force.
Yeah. Now, I will say this: the Black Panthers, the new Black Panthers. I interviewed one of the generals, Aqiel LeBeau, when I first started doing this a couple years ago, and I'm going to have him back on. But there's one thing he does that I thought was amazing. Him and his chapter still go out and do neighborhood walks, neighborhood patrols.
Thank you. And when you do that, people call the chapter before they even call the police. Or you remember how it used to be? There was parts of town that with the Nation of Islam control stuff, man, where you didn't bother nobody.
Right.
Because it wasn't even so much you was concerned about the police, you was concerned about the brothers rolling on you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so my point is that we making the same point is that that's the cognitive dissonance. You know what I'm saying? Is that, you know, you hate them, but you still call them. You know what I'm saying? And things like that. And because we're not controlling, we're not taking care of our own communities.
Yeah.
We dependent
upon them. You know what I'm saying? If we do what we're supposed to do, we don't need them. Like you said, we don't need them to come around. And what we need to do, one thing, the reason why, so you know, he'll tell you, I didn't want to be a police officer. He had to convince me to do it. And the way he said it was the community needs it. Community needs somebody like you in there.
That's right. So
that somebody else don't show up.
That was fine.
And when I was there, we did community policing before there was community police. You know what I'm saying? We did conflict resolution. Me and my partner. I remember the reason why I loved Daryl and rode with him was because the first thing I got in the car, he was like, "Listen, man, I don't put my hands on black people." You know what I'm saying? I don't beat black people. I was like, "Bro, you ain't got to say that to me. My father Aqil. Let's roll." You know what I'm saying? And after that, we was the kind of cops that you wanted to show up to your car.
You still the kind of cops I want to show up to my car.
Because that's the kind of guy he was. You see? And so until if that thing is not going away, what we need to be doing is going to the communities and going, listen, brothers, let's get some of these brothers, you know what I'm saying, who we know progressive minded. Let's get them on, get them, you know, let's have them take the test. Let's get them on, you know what I'm saying? And then they can come back and they can even protect our community in official capacity.
Right.
Because you know how much stuff, you don't know how much stuff me and Daryl stopped just because we rolled up and the stupid dudes didn't want to do it in front of us.
Right.
There was stuff that we know, that fool going over there, we just gonna go over there and just sit and watch. You know what I'm saying? And when we showed up, he was like, you know, things got cool because they knew that we was there and we wasn't going for that dumb stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I
And
think
so
we need,
there's ways to do this, man. But first of all, you know, we gotta get our head together. It's a mindset, man. We gotta get it. And as long as other people is defining us, I'm old enough, man, to remember, you know, the beauty of hip hop when it came out, man, and to watch it get used against us.
Right.
Watch it get changed and used against us. You know what I'm saying? And you know, unfortunately, man, I'm hoping that, you know, sometimes it's got to get bad for us to get our act together. And I hope that it don't have to get too bad before we start waking up and putting the pieces together and start realizing that we all we got. Because I was watching this dude the other day and he was saying something I thought was striking. He said, in a minute, the demographics are going to flip to people are going to start getting in power as white people's numbers go down and other groups start getting in power. And they don't feel like they owe us anything from slavery.
Right.
Latinos don't owe us anything from slavery.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? And if you go to certain places, I'm hearing in LA where they not being displaced by white people, the brothers and sisters getting displaced by Latinos.
So
you know what I'm saying? And so we gotta realize that we all we got. Seriously. You know, I mean, we getting kind of deep with it, but I just, you said Raw and Uncut. You know, what time we got to get out here?
I told you, man.
Yeah,
we Raw and Uncut, man. We saw what you want.
You know that we got to, and it starts with, obviously it starts with progressiveness and starts with, positive and, I mean, this man, he, raised me in a positive progressive home. You know what I'm saying? We don't smoke, we don't drink, we don't eat no pork. You know what I'm saying? And no alcohol and all that kind of stuff. Why? Because he used to always tell me, I was like, you don't have the luxury. Right. You don't have the luxury, man. You know what I'm saying? You on the menu. There's people out here that's their whole goal is to end your existence, man. And so you don't have the luxury. You can't do what they do.
You know what?
You know how we start all our training. What do I do when I go train with us? I go, yo, listen. What your mama tell you when you was young? You got to be better than they are.
Yep.
She told you, said you can't do what they can do. You got to be better.
That's one thing that you're definitely always going to get at a Dorie Miller meeting. You're always going to get education. You're never going to come out of there without learning something. You're going to take home something every time you get with them.
And that's the way it's supposed to be. That's exactly what it's supposed to be.
And so I can't say that for a lot of organizations. I've had my run-in with one, and
I know. And it's funny because when I got the call, I wasn't sure what to do, and then I spoke to the man here, and he said, you know what, you got to go in there and do the best. And either they gonna take what you got or they got something better.
Right.
And I was like, that way we just raised the bar. And they like what we was doing, so we rock with that, but what I found out is, like most organizations, the grassroots is different than the crust. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times when we doing these things, we got to do it for that's for the people who really looking for it, because you pull them aside and they understand that everything got some warts to it, but underneath there is there's a lot of good things that can be done. And so we gonna we gonna help out and do it in the best way that we can. And like I said, what you doing right here on this type of thing is a part of it. Thank you. It's important that you got influencers and I'm just happy that you're just starting to see, we starting to see more and more Black people just in the culture, so that we can grow a culture, because for a long time we didn't have that. We had I'm often quoted saying we had a surreptitious gun culture, where we we felt like, well, everybody, we got that thing, but we really can't talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then some of us, unfortunately, one of the reasons why this is the importance of catching them young. One of the reasons why I kept my nose clean was because I never wanted to not be able to be armed. That was I don't care what it was. I mean, it was, man, when I was coming up, man, cats was starting to sell those rocks and stuff, and there was some goofy dudes making money, and people was asking me if I wanted to be down, and I was like, man, nah, I always want to be able to hold that heat. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not giving that up for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because that, to me, that always represented the bank. Personal protection and self-defense was always extremely important.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what we have to do is tell young brothers, like, listen, man, keep your nose clean, because this here, when they get this F, once they put this F on your report card, man, there's a whole lot of stuff that they didn't close you out.
Yeah, they didn't close a whole lot of doors in your life.
And so then now we know that the whole crack game was a setup. And what we have to do is wait for the next one, because they coming out with something else. They always are, and they always get us, But then the same people that put that poison out is a lot of times the same ones that's the music is advertising for.
No, you know what? And they had on the news today that they said that they got something that's much more powerful than fentanyl that they putting in the drugs now.
Yeah.
More potent than fentanyl. Fentanyl is potent enough as it is, and you're gonna talk about they got something that's more powerful than that they cutting with.
Man, if they can keep our youth brain dead and distracted, they'll never be able to see what's going on right in front of them.
That's right.
And they think generational. You know what I'm saying? They think generational. Meanwhile, the Latin community having babies up the wazoo.
Yep.
So you go 2 generations down, and now we not growing. We still this 13% of the population. Meanwhile, other communities are growing like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so we once again, because we getting caught up, So
that was the whole idea, is to keep us the minority at all costs. That was the whole plan. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it works. You know what I'm saying? We might not be around to see the final results, but I mean, they say end of the world is supposed to be a war between a dragon, an eagle.
Oh, really?
A bear.
Yeah, I tell you what. I'm gonna tell you, it's sad when, and I know every generation do this, but it's still sad when I look at the world, and I'll be like, man, I don't want to be my kids, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, like this, man. I don't want to be 20 years old. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, I'm yeah. So
yeah, I feel like kids that are the age I would have been, 20 years ago or 25 years ago, whatever, they're gonna have a big disadvantage by the time they get to our age.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the time they get to 45. Yeah, if they get there.
If they get there.
They're gonna be all jacked up. They're not gonna have cars. They're not gonna have anything, man. They're gonna be slaves. I think we're gonna eventually be like, you ever seen the Book of Eli? I think that's what we got coming.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a movie on that, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With Denzel Washington, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
I think we got that coming. I think that's coming. Because they're taking God out of everything. They don't want you to know anything about that. They're taking our history out of everything. So our kids, if we don't teach our kids and our kids don't pass that down to their kids and so forth and so on, then our history is going to disappear.
Because he who writes the past writes the present and the future, man. So
yeah, this is true. But man, I know y'all got to get out of here.
We appreciate the time, Big Dre. Thank you for having us on.
Coming through.
Yeah.
Aqil, I appreciate you bringing all the knowledge.
Yeah.
You already know, my brother.
I hear you, my brother. I hear you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it again, man. So you just let me know, okay?
Oh, definitely. I'd love to have y'all on. There's already been some people saying we need to have y'all back on again. So, you know what I'm saying? We just need to, keep educating people, man, whether it be on here, whether it be out in the community, friends,
Yeah.
family, whatever. Just keep
And
educating people.
they can check that webpage, and that webpage and could give them a lot of information, and they can leave their number, and we can call them and talk to them some more about it if they want.
Okay. And if you're in the
Okay.
area and you want to get some training, man, go to Citizen Safety. What is it? CitizenSafety.com?
CitizenSafety.com, DorrieMiller.org. Check us
Yeah.
out.
Go over there and check them out, man. Get set up for some classes, man. Get you some training. And if you got time, man, check out that 5 See how what kind of skills you really have. But man, I appreciate y'all coming through, man. I appreciate everybody in the chat that came through to watch and support and listen, get this information. And look forward to being with y'all next week. Until then, be blessed, stay dangerous. We'll catch y'all later. Deuces.